Hey everyone, this is Janice Wright from the Garrison Public Affairs Office, and I also have my co-host here, Darren Sonato, also from the Garrison Public Affairs Office. This week we've got a little something special for you guys. We switched things up a little bit. We went live from the Fort Cavazos Main Exchange, and we got a chance to sit down with someone you might be very familiar with, none other than the UFC President, Mr. Dana White. We're also going to talk about some of our very favorite traveling soldier destinations. All that and more on this week's episode of the Great Big Podcast. Mr. White, we are so very excited to have you.
I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about you.
Well, what do you want to know? I got a lot.
Anything you're willing to say.
We could be here for a very long time if you want to. But look, I'm the president of the UFC. For those of you that don't know what it is, it's a mixed martial arts organization. We are a global company. We're in 150 different countries around the world on some form of television, in over 1 billion homes worldwide. So, yeah. In a nutshell, that's what I do.
So what I'm sure all of our listeners want to know, of course, is why Fort Cavazos? What made you choose to stop and visit us here?
Well, I'm a huge military and law enforcement guy, so anytime that I can ever do anything, no matter what it is, for either or first responders, I'm all in.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what do you think it means to have you here, with our soldiers? I'm sure you think it's probably a huge morale booster. How important is that to you?
Well, it's big for me. I mean, not just, the level of respect that I have for military personnel, it's unexplainable. I would literally do anything. I met a couple guys here today, and I gave them my cell phone number already. I've been here 10 minutes. I said, if you ever need anything from me or the UFC, whether it's fundraising, people showing up to bases or any type of support that we could possibly give, I'm your guy. I'm all in. Call me.
Okay. So you've reached, quite a stature here in your professional career. What would be your most profound piece of advice you would give?
I would say that, depending on what somebody was asking me, if it was about life is all about figuring out who you are, what you want to do for the rest of your life, and then going after it. I think that I literally was, last night, we just flew in from Boston. I was at I got inducted into the Boston Garden Hall of Fame last night. And
congrats.
Thank you. And as we talked about where I came from and how I got here, and, people thought it was crazy what I wanted to do, the idea of going head-to-head with boxing, and when you look at certain things, like at the time when I started my career, you had Don King and Bob Arum and a couple other guys. Boxing was massive and was sort of cemented in over 100 years of history in the United States, and when you say that you want to start what I wanted to start and do what I wanted to do, it seemed impossible and could never be done. Nothing is impossible and everything can be done. So, people out there who have an idea and it seems too big and it seems too crazy and other people think you're nuts, none of that's true. Anything is possible and anything can be done.
I love that. That's a great mantra to live by. So soon you're going to be walking out there to, a bunch of smiling faces. How does that make you feel?
Good. There's nothing wrong with walking out to smiling faces. I've walked out to tougher crowds than that. So, listen, I said it, I'll probably say it 30 times during this podcast, I love the military. So anytime I can get out, I have so much respect for people who, I talk about it publicly all the time, who defend this country and what it takes to join the military physically, mentally, emotionally, and to serve this country. I have many ideas about this next generation that are coming up, and to meet the people who actually are here doing it and willing to defend our country. There's no place that I would rather be than here today, meeting them, shaking their hands, and whatever else we're going to do today. And I will stay as long as it takes and to meet whoever wants to meet me today.
Well, I'm sure they're going to be glad to hear that. But Darren and myself, we can also speak to it. We're both military veterans.
And that's, I'm a big, like I said, military and vet guy. The Fisher family, I'm sure. So Arnold Fisher and,
we just interviewed them, or we interviewed the program for Fisher House last week.
Yes.
So big supporter of them back in 08 and 09 when, the economy crashed, that they were trying to finish the TBI center that they built, and me and my partners, the Fertitta brothers, put up the money to finish it. And then, we've donated tons of money to the Fisher House, where they build housing for amputees and families of amputees and people, that came out of the military that are going through traumatic brain injury and whatever it might be. But we're huge supporters, and I don't know if anybody's done more than the Fisher family for the military.
Absolutely, they got 99 footprints in the ground right now, hoping to hit over 100 Fisher houses across both the United States and overseas by the end of 2025.
Yes.
So.
Incredible family, yeah. We're huge supporters of them too. So
I actually did an article about the Fisher House here on Fort Cavazos. Amazing organization.
It really is. It's unbelievable, actually. It's really unbelievable. I mean, Arnold Fisher literally devoted his entire life to the military and veterans. So, and he just passed away within the last year, I think. But what an incredible, amazing human being that guy was. So,
what's your favorite part about engaging with both military and law enforcement? Is it hearing the stories? Is it, learning a little bit about their background, meeting someone maybe from your hometown? Or
yeah, so to me, when you talk about heroes and like superheroes and things like that, these are the people that are the real heroes and the real superheroes. When you are willing to dedicate a massive portion of your life, and sometimes your entire life, to protecting others and protecting your country, and it's just one of the most. It's one of the things that I respect the most in a human being. That the fact that these people would do it. I almost have this goofy little fantasy. If I didn't go the path that I always was in love with the military. I mean, I wear. This isn't just because I came here today. You can ask my crew. I have military shirts in every branch of the military. I wear them often, and I don't know. I just have this whole. I love the military and I love law enforcement. Think about it. When we grew up, one of the things that makes me sick about our country right now is when you think about when we used to go to school and we had classes and they had like career day and stuff like that. When a police officer showed up to your school, you were like, oh my God. It's a police officer, and there was this level of respect and admiration that you had for law enforcement, and the same thing goes with military. And somewhere over the last 25, 30 years, we've gone off the path, and it's gotten goofy how we do not respect these people who put their lives on the line every day, whether it's to protect your town or your city or your state or your country. We don't do that anymore. And we need to get back on the right track here and right on the right path and realize who the real heroes are and what these people represent and what they stand for. I know I didn't answer your question. I went off.
No.
I don't know where the hell I went with that, but you know what I'm saying. But
I'm sure the community would much appreciate your path deviating to the path that you're currently on right now.
Absolutely.
But noting that you have an Army shirt on today, what is your favorite branch and why is it the Army?
I don't have a favorite branch. I respect them all. Every separate branch, I have Marines, I got the Special Forces, I got Army, I even have the Air National Guard. I mean, I have every single branch of the military. No matter what, I love the competitiveness, but everybody that dedicates a portion or all of their life to a branch of the services has all of my respect, and I represent them all equally.
I hear you. We much appreciate it. I mean, being deployed a few times in my career, UFC was always a tried and true stand, and you know that there's going to be a UFC broadcast wherever you're at.
Well, that was one of the first things that we did before we were even making money. We did a deal with the Armed Forces Network and made sure that everybody in the military got to see the UFC fights for free all over the world, no matter where they were. So since day one, before this thing was ever really a thing or ever took off or definitely ever made any money, we were always big supporters of the military.
Are there any projects in the future that you're looking forward to partnering with the Department of Defense? Or
I would do anything. I would do anything. The crazy thing is, it's very hard to do. It's not easy to do. You can't just call and say, hey, we'd like to. We used to do these Fight for the Troops. So we would go and we would put on fights at Army bases or military branches. And every dollar that was made off that event went toward the military or toward the Fisher House. And you can't get it done anymore. Arnold Fisher got those deals done for us. He was so powerful inside the military, he could get it done. But when you try to do this type of stuff yourself, it's not easy to do.
Exactly.
Well, we know you have your adoring fans, the soldiers waiting out there for you, so we're not going to take up too much more of your time. We so appreciate you sitting down and speaking with us today. This has been amazing.
Anytime.
And hopefully you can come back to Fort Cavazos and come back to Central Texas, and we'll have you on the podcast again.
We're always in Texas. We love Texas. Texas has been very good to the UFC over the years. And I'll do your podcast whenever you ask me to.
Thank you
We
so
appreciate
much.
it.
We appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Likewise.
Let's keep it real. You're out having fun, you have a few drinks, now you're ready to go home, and you're pretty confident you can drive yourself, right? Think again. Don't be that person. Have a plan, call a friend, and don't drink and drive.
One of the things I love about the Great Place is being able to meet famous people that you might not ever come across ever in life. And to have met the president of the UFC, Dana White, it was amazing. And he is so, so very down to earth and so nice.
That's awesome.
I really enjoyed that. And it was also my first time kind of taking the Great Big Podcast on the road and going live on location. That was pretty nifty. I liked that. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Well, hey everybody, this is Samantha Harms with the Garrison Public Affairs Office. And yeah, going on the road with the podcast is so much fun. I have always loved it. We did an episode at the Robertson Blood Center one time while one of our co-hosts actually donated blood while we were talking. It was so much fun. We had a great time with it.
Yeah. I didn't realize that we are such a big UFC, got a lot of UFC fans on post. I mean, he had a throng. I think I used that word. He had a lot of fans. They were around the corner and really hyped up too. I mean, I heard, lots of grunting and lots of, boisterous laughing. I was like, okay.
Grunting, that's interesting.
Yeah, all right.
I swear, I was like, what is going on? I was like, was that a mating call? Like, what was that? They were just like really, really engaged, and he was like shaking hands and giving hugs. It was great. He was great.
Awesome.
Yeah, he was great. And he's really a big proponent and supporter of the military services. He's basically willing to do anything to support, the military. And I really admire and respect that.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. Well, I'm glad he was able to come here and visit people and to come on the podcast.
He said he would come anytime we asked.
I love that. Well, you had mentioned that that's one thing you really love about the Great Place. One other thing that I love about the Great Place is the amount of things that we can do here.
Yes.
With, meeting celebrities, but just with like getting off the installation. Central Texas is honestly, sometimes it is just dumbfounding the amount of things that you can do in this area.
I don't think I realized how big Texas is until I moved here.
Yeah, I mean, people always say on the internet, when you're driving in Texas, people will say like, oh yeah, you can drive 8 hours and you're still in Texas.
Well within
true.
Texas.
Okay, this is Blair with the Sentinel.
Yes. Hello, Blair.
So I grew up in Orange, which is like basically the very last town you'll pass through if you go east on I-10 toward Louisiana.
Yes.
There is a sign that says to El Paso. As you enter Orange from Louisiana, it's like 800 something miles.
Oh Oh my God.
Yeah. So moving from the very edge of Texas to the very center, we are in a very good place. We're an hour from Austin, an hour from Waco, a few hours from San Antonio and Dallas. So location wise, it couldn't be better. In a great place.
Yeah, it could not be better. I see what you did there. We're in a great
I really
place.
didn't even mean to do that.
Pun intended. But really, how great is it that us, working in the Garrison Public Affairs Office, that we all get to write about these things.
Yeah.
And it's part of our job, our experiences.
Yeah.
So,
I
think that's awesome.
Yeah, I love that portion of the Cavazos Sentinel, the traveling soldier. So we're at the end of the year, so what better time than to look back on some of our favorites.
Yay.
So Janice, do you want to start? What was one of your favorite traveling soldiers you covered for this year?
Well, okay, so one of my top favorites I went to in August. It was when my best friend came down and visited, and we are both wine lovers. We love to go to the wineries.
Yes, I remember this one.
And we had really, really, been anticipating, and so we went and had a grape stomp experience.
Yes, that was in Fredericksburg, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And I just, I couldn't believe it. I wanted to do something different. I'm like, are they actually really doing that? That's like an old tradition now. Of course, fortunately, they have, updated processes where they, we're not drinking the wine that, people
good.
actually stumped
Your
in.
stinky
But
feet.
just the actual, just going back and doing something traditional like that, it was really, really fun. A lot of people were there doing it. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. We took great pictures. It was just a great experience.
That's awesome. It was a grape experience.
Wow. Yes, a great experience.
We're feeling the puns today.
Pun intended.
Did you look like Lucy and I Love Lucy in that one
You
episode?
know what? I thought about that when I saw her with her skirt and hiked up.
Yeah.
And, it was funny. Me and my best friend both had just got, pedicures. We was like, wait, is that gonna mess up our pedicure? But of course, we were overthinking it. Of course, they use like regular grapes that you would get, and they're not the dark red grapes that was stained. Our pedicures were saved.
Nice.
You're like tasting it, and they're like, notice the notes of nail polish, and
an athlete's foot.
and nail fungus. No. Yeah, like I said, thank God for technology and modern processes, because we don't have to worry about drinking what is it, feet grape juice. I mean, I don't know what you would call it.
I don't know, but that is terrible.
Yeah, that's what we should call it.
In theory, yes. In theory, it's terrible. But when you rest assured that there are processes that clean it and it's far, far, far removed from the toes that may have touched it. Yeah. So that was one of my favorites.
Nice. I love that. All right, Blair, what do you got?
I'll hop back to May when we went to hopscotch.
Yeah.
I am not doing this on purpose.
Puns
I
for
swear.
everybody today.
Keep it coming.
I love it.
Blair, you are
Funny
hitting
day.
it on all cylinders.
I'm sick, so I'm just talking. So
Just letting it go. Yeah.
But I do want to say I had planned this because obviously the name change happened that month.
Yes.
And
freeze designate.
Yes, General Cavazos is buried in San Antonio. My best friend and roommate, Jessica, is from San Antonio. And a family member of hers was pregnant and was going to have a baby shower. And
that's right.
And I needed a picture of his gravesite. And I was like, oh, this will work out. Well, the babies decided to show up the day before the baby shower. So
nice. Classic babies.
Yes.
I mean, only thinking of themselves.
They
of
said,
course.
let's have a birthday party tomorrow.
Yes. At the baby shower.
At the baby
All
shower.
the presents are there already.
Everybody's ready for my birth.
Exactly.
Yeah, because it's all about me.
Yeah. Exactly. So I kind of panicked because I knew I kind of wanted to do a traveling soldier, but I wasn't sure if we'd have time. So when they said that happened, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to have to drive all the way to San Antonio just to take a picture of a gravesite. So I do want all this to say they came in clutch for me. I literally emailed them at like 11 o'clock at night. I was like, hey, I work for the Fort Cavazos or Fort Hood Sentinel, soon to be Fort Cavazos Sentinel. And I know this is last second and I'm so sorry. Is there any way we can get in there tomorrow. And they emailed me back like that and said, absolutely, here's 2 tickets, have fun.
That's awesome.
So I just want to say they were so helpful.
Customer
to me.
service.
Yes.
Kudos to them. Yes.
We love that.
So this is in like downtown San Antonio, which I was kind of worried about because I drive a fairly large truck and small cramped spaces don't make me feel comfortable. But there's a parking garage nearby. It was easy for me to navigate through. If you have a lifted vehicle that's taller than just a normal truck, it will not fit in there. I just want to let you know my truck was
right at
at
the top.
the roof.
Wow.
And it is not lifted.
No.
So, but there was plenty of parking spaces in there. We found a spot, walked a very short distance from the parking garage to the exhibit. It's an interactive art exhibit.
Nice.
They've got, you can eat food there. They have like a restaurant and a bar. Our favorite part was the LED ball pit.
Yes, I remember this on the paper.
You had some great pictures.
Pretty.
Yes, it was. Yeah. It was a lot of fun. And of course, they got other super colorful, they had like you could spray paint digitally on the wall,
nifty,
using like lasers and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was a whole lot of fun.
That's
wow.
so
It was
cool.
great, and especially something that happened so last second.
Yeah,
like it couldn't have worked out better.
Wow.
So that was definitely one of my favorites.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad you brought up May because my, of course, first one has to be, since we did redesignate.
Yeah.
I actually went to General Cavazos' hometown, which is in Kingsville. So all the way down close to Corpus Christi. So pretty far from here. But I was able to go to King Ranch, which is where he was essentially born and raised.
Nice.
So they had the ranch itself and then King Ranch Museum. So I got to see photos of his dad up on the wall because he was one of the people who worked at the ranch.
Nice.
So they have photos of his dad, riding on a horse. It is such a cool photo, and you get to learn about what King Ranch is known for and the unique breed of cattle that they make. They like breed their own special. And then of course now in Central Texas, I know when I am driving from like Temple to Fort Cavazos, you see that sign that says King Ranch Turf. All that stuff comes from King Ranch.
Wow.
The Ford, the truck that
King
they
Ranch
have, the
trucks,
King Ranch truck. They have the original, like the first truck there in the museum. So I learned a lot about Central Texas as a whole and like agriculture as a whole, on top of learning about General Cavazos and his family and his brother, who also is, really well known. So getting to see all that stuff was really, really fun for me.
Right.
And just visiting Kingsville as a whole, I really enjoyed everything that I did there. It was really great. And writing about everything in the paper, I really was able to talk about, that small town vibe that obviously Texas is sometimes known for.
Right.
And just like the Midwest as a whole is really known for, which of course speaks to my heart because I'm, from Lansing, Kansas, which is, right outside of Leavenworth. But both of those towns are really small, to be honest. So it was really fun. I enjoyed it.
Well, speaking of small towns, I have always wanted to visit Waco because I wanted to go to Magnolia.
Ah, yes.
So
Classic Central Texas.
I visited Magnolia at the Silos in April.
Okay.
And it reminded me of a small, quaint little town within the city of Waco. It was absolutely lovely. Now, of course, we were urged to visit the bakery, but we could not because the line was wrapped around the building.
We'll tell you all about the bakery. She loves the bakery.
God, if I go up to Waco, I will plan the trip around going to.
Oh my God, I'm so disappointed.
I make sure to go at the very end of the day because there's no line. You can just walk in.
Yeah.
And pro tip for everybody.
Yes, the end of the day. And they had construction around there recently. And I think since you've gone, they're done. And so there's a lot more parking around there now.
That's good to hear because my friend and I we had no problem finding parking. We actually parked on the street, like not too far. We walked down. But the first thing we hit is that corner where the bakery sits. And we saw that line and we were like, okay, you know what? We're not going to freak out. We'll come back. No.
It just got longer.
Yeah, no.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So my friend Chandra, hey Shan, we were so disappointed that we didn't get to try anything from the bakery, but our visit did not disappoint in that there were so many other excellent and just unique and wonderfully historic things about the area. And of course they had food.
Oh yeah, the food there is amazing.
See, I haven't tried the food trucks yet.
Oh really?
Yes, several different
the food
trucks
are really good.
But of course they Chip and Joanna Gaines are known for they have a brand that has restaurants, furniture, all those
They're
things.
opening a hotel, aren't they?
Yes,
I think it's built.
Yes.
Oh, is it?
I think it is, or at the very least, the actual structure. I don't know about the interior.
Right.
I saw
there's a show coming out about.
I saw an Instagram ad, or I think I followed Joanna on Instagram.
They are so
she had a video come up of they were buying he bought 300,000 books or something like that.
They are so vested in the city of Waco. They have absolutely revitalized it with all of the things that they've established.
Yeah.
And I love them. But Magnolia at the silos, they have an actual baseball field there. All of the food trucks, the open area, the turf where you can actually play cornhole and just lounge.
Don't say that around me.
I saw people taking naps under the trees. And then there's the little shaded area where the food trucks are lined up, and you have your pick from gourmet grilled cheese to chicken and waffles to burgers. I mean, there's something really there for everybody. And then of course there's the shopping.
If
you are a Chip and Joanna Gaines fan, you can buy pretty much anything they sell. And then they've got a coffee shop. They had a little boutique that sold body products, and I was just really, really impressed. I enjoyed myself. I want to go back just to go to the bakery.
Yeah.
Yes, it is worth it.
Yes,
absolutely.
I've heard sometimes too, people have said that Chip and Joanna will show up. Yeah. You can, run into them. I have met Chip one time at a KU Baylor game for basketball. Really nice guy.
I've not
very nice.
seen them, but I would have loved to.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah. All right, Blair, what do you got next?
Oh, goodness. In July, I went to Wonder Spaces.
Yes. Okay, so you've got a theme going on here for these two that you're talking about.
I do. I mean, hey, interactive art exhibits are
that's your jam.
So fun. Yes. Wonder Spaces is probably still my favorite. Hopscotch is kind of limited on size just based on where they are.
Right.
Wonder Spaces, since I'd been... last year, they had added a couple of new exhibits. One was made of, I don't want to say mirrors necessarily.
Oh, is it the reflective one that you step on?
You step on, and they will move.
It's kind of like a mirror, but also kind of
because you can't look down and see your reflection
metal?
clear. It's maybe just metal.
Yeah,
that would
some
be
sort of. Metal thing.
Yeah. And they have lights shining on it so that you can look up at the wall and it changes
your reflection.
Now, standing on those things is very disorienting.
Yes, it is.
And I was frightened. So
nice.
I wasn't on them for very long, but I watched my roommate and my brother who came with us for the first time walk across them. Submergence is still my favorite. The artist is Squid Soup. It's hard to forget.
Can't forget that.
But I think it's probably the most popular exhibit there.
Yeah.
It's a whole bunch of thousands of lights that change in sequence to music. I would say it's more of a immersive sound experience.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, because it's more like synth kind of
kind of stuff.
Yeah. So it's so cool. That's why I have to go back every year just because they do really cool stuff there.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, that kind of stuff is really inspiring to me, especially Submergence. That just tickles my brain. I don't know why, but it really does.
That. No, I agree with that. It was really fun.
Yes, there's tons of stuff there. It's not just that. I mean, and it changes all the time. So I highly recommend checking them out.
Highly recommend.
Yes, and if you're into alcohol and stuff, they have a bar. Sam went also.
I did. Yes.
Not for a traveling soldier, but
no,
she just went.
I went to go.
Yeah.
So Blair's always talking about it.
Yeah. So she can vouch for that.
Yes, I vouch for
and
that.
then there is one thing we wanted to try, but it's also really popular. You like sit in front of some robots.
Yes.
And they draw you.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty amazing.
it's a commitment. You have to sit there for like 10
I think it's 20 minutes.
So
yeah.
much. Yeah. Yeah, you
like,
gotta sit there
just
for a
sit
while.
in one spot.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
They're like little robots, kind of like arms,
Oh,
and there's a
okay.
pencil attached to the end, and they.
I think it's a pen.
It's a pen.
I think
That's
it's
pretty
okay.
cool.
Yeah.
Pen,
I don't know if
yeah.
I could sit there and let it happen.
You can like move around. It's not like you have to sit perfectly still, but you do have to sit there.
Yeah.
Like you can't leave the chair.
Mm-hmm.
So
Pretty nice. Was there a long line for that?
There were people chasing down workers to get it started again.
yeah, because you have to ask them to
like
start it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
That
another
sounds
very
interesting.
popular one.
Very interesting.
And if you don't have time to wait, they have some of the artwork displayed
Yeah.
on the side, so you can
Okay.
see what
What it
they've
would look
drawn.
like.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So along that line, I have gotten really into two hobbies. So I'm going to talk about two traveling soldiers at once. First is going to be boulders climbing, which is here in Harker Heights. So I've gotten really into rock climbing this year. And then the other is Mud Studio, which is in Austin. I've gotten really into pottery this year.
Oh,
So for people who are looking for some new hobbies, I would recommend those two places. So boulders, you can do just like a day pass. You can rent all the equipment you need from them for like $5 extra. So it's really convenient. You can climb. So the first time I went, and for people who are interested, I would say go on like a Saturday or Sunday. Your day pass is good for all day. Even if you show up, you can leave and come back, which is really nice. And the same thing goes for equipment rental. So if you show up when they open on Saturday, you're like, oh, I want to climb for like, an hour and then take a break. Maybe I want to come back. You can go climb for a few hours, leave, and then come back and just say, hey, I was here earlier today. And they'll say, oh, yeah, no problem. And then give you all the equipment that you need again.
I've actually
Super
been
nice.
there. It's been years, but I have been there.
Yeah,
once.
they've been open a long time, a very long time.
It quickly
yes.
showed me that I need to work on my upper body strength.
Yeah, that's fair.
Don't they have like different levels, like a beginner climbs and intermediate?
Yes,
and then more
so
advanced?
they do have. They're all marked by little tape with numbers. So the lower numbers are going to be, of course, the easier climbs, and then higher
They say
numbers
easier.
will be.
That's what they
Sometimes
say.
it is rather difficult, and sometimes I think that they have tall people who make these routes because as a short person, I can't quite reach all of them.
Right.
So you're doing a lot of jumping.
Yeah, it's like how
a little
do you
nerve-wracking.
expect me to get from here to there? Like, how is that even possible?
Yeah, but it's incredible the things that some of those people in there are doing. If you just like sit and watch,
They're very
they
athletic.
are amazing.
Very athletic.
Yeah, so absolutely recommend that. And then for people who are not athletic and are looking for a more artistic route, I would recommend Mud Studio. So they do a couple of different options. They have a one-time class. So I would recommend following them on Instagram or checking their website.
Oh, okay.
They'll have lots of stuff updated. So they'll do one-time classes where it's just for a few hours. And that's how I got started with them. And I made 2 bowls. So I did 2
Are they
salad bowls?
shaped like bowls?
Yes, they are. Yes, I shaped them like bowls. I did a good job. So you can either do like larger, like more salad-y type bowls or
Salady.
cereal.
I like salady.
Cereal soupy bowls. These are my
Salady
words.
and soupy.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Salady and
That's what you
soupy.
need. Salad
You guys see where we're going.
yeah, you can't beat that. So you've got that option. They do, so like this time of the year, they'll do like festival things. So you can do hand building. So instead of using like a wheel, you can make, they just did ornaments for trees. And then they do longer classes. So they'll do 6 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Of
So you can
classes.
really get into
So you
it.
do every week. You have like I think a 3-ish hour class where you have an instructor. They'll teach you. So they have beginner, they have intermediate classes. So for people who are brand new, they will teach you how to, put the ball of clay onto the wheel, how to center it, how to like raise it up and lower it down, how to kind of start making things. And included in that price is going to be some open studio hours as well. So you'll have time to go by yourself, practice, to go to class. And included in that, of course, is glazing. So making it, look pretty. Yeah. They'll fire it in the kiln for you so you can go back. So I walked away with, I don't know, maybe a dozen pieces from my 6 weeks class, but some people walked away with a lot more. Some people walked away with less. Just depends on, your personal
Is it just me
creativity.
Or anybody else think about Demi Moore and Patrick Swayze? That's what I think about when I see the clay and it's just they made it look really, really interesting.
Yeah, it's really fun. I love it. I will say though, it is important to make sure you wear clothes that you don't particularly love.
Oh, okay.
And wear pants. Or shorts
so you get
some
splashed,
sort.
You get dirty.
Yes, you will have clay on you when you leave, especially. So they offer multiple types of clay that you can buy. So if you're doing more of like the redder, darker colored clay, you will see that a lot more, of course, than the lighter type of clay. Mm-hmm. It's just a personal preference on what you want to use to paint. So when you use the clay will change, of course, based off of the glaze that you put on it. There's so much that goes into this. Obviously, I am very passionate about it.
Nice.
So highly recommend for people who are looking at maybe some new hobbies for next year. I'd recommend both those places.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now everybody knows, well, maybe you guys don't know, I am a big kid at heart, and nothing brings out the kid in me more than an aquarium or a zoo.
Fair.
I love
That's
it.
Fair.
So hence we went to the Dallas World Aquarium back in March. It was so nice. It was like walking into a rainforest. And that's exactly what you enter in. You enter in a rainforest, and it's open in the middle, and it's got the like a spiral staircase thing where each level you see different things. One of the biggest things I saw was the crocodile. I mean, it was just like really close. It was in an enclosure, but the partition was see-through, so you could actually see him laying there. And I'm
That's
just like,
awesome.
what if he just decided he didn't want to be in there anymore? Then what protection would we have? That's what I'm wondering. But you go to different sections, and one of the ones that I really loved was the pink flamingos. They were just so vibrant, and they were just standing there in a group, just chilling. They knew that people were taking photos, and it was almost like they were posing. Hey, here you go. I loved it. And the penguins were so cute. I loved it. And then, of course, they have all of the fish within the larger tanks, and they had the ones that you recognize, the ones that look like Nemo and Dora. Very vibrant colors, like you just don't know. And then, of course, they have the walk-through tunnel where it's a huge, the huge tank where you can walk under and you can see like the manatee and the stingrays. I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved it. That was my favorite part. I think that I was more excited than the kids. It was just hard to take photos because the flash would bounce off. Yeah. So it was great. I loved it. I had a great time.
That's awesome.
Yes. So if you're ever looking for something to do for the kids, but also to enjoy yourself, yes.
Yeah, Dallas has a lot of those. I've got future traveling soldier that I have coming up that will be for next year. So obviously I'm not going to talk about it, but I've already been. It's also in Dallas. Really fun. Same vibe of like, the kids were just as interactive as the adults. Right. So you love when that happens.
Right. Love it.
Well, something that's also fun for adults and kids is the Robinson Family Farm.
Yes.
Which I went to in October. It is a seasonal thing. I'm not entirely sure if they do something for Christmas or not. But I know in the fall it's really big because they do have their fall festival where they open up their facilities, and there's a huge pumpkin patch you can actually choose pumpkins from. They have tons of activities like axe throwing.
They've got ski.
Skee ball.
Skee ball.
They've recently added a gigantic slide. That's the newest addition. Then there's also a corn cannon.
Yeah,
if you
corn,
want to
that's
shoot,
right.
that scared
A
the
corn
living life
cannon.
out of me.
Yeah.
When my brother shot it, I wasn't expecting it to be loud, but
Yeah,
obviously it's compressed air.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
yes,
It's loud.
yeah. So they have a ton of stuff to do. There's tons of photo ops there. Also adult beverages.
Yes. They're good. I can also vouch for that.
Yes. Gotta love an adult beverage.
Yes. Also food.
Yeah.
Tons of
There's
food
so many
trucks.
food trucks.
I even saw one food truck that said they had crawfish, which being half Cajun, I was, slightly hesitant because I've been burned before up here. I'm just saying. But,
maybe
so
next year, just try it.
Maybe, yeah.
Let us know.
Yeah, there's tons of options there. And they've also got giant Jenga. And giant chess and these I don't even know what they're called, but it's just big, huge, almost like the pipe that they bury in the ground kind of pipe that they've cut into just wheels and put them on tracks and you can like a hamster in a ball.
Oh, okay.
And roll them around. Those are disorienting. I highly recommend those for kids and not adults unless you want back pain the next day.
That's fair. Yeah, good recommendation.
But yes, it is funny to watch an adult try it.
Okay.
And be like, ow. So, but yeah, there's tons of stuff to do there. I mean, and it's perfect for fall every time. We
love it.
That's our second time going, and my brother's first time going.
Nice.
And he loved it.
Those pictures were great.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, and they make it easy. So
Yeah.
So it's awesome.
That's awesome. Well, I love that. Okay, well, I know we are running pretty long at this point, so I'm going to do some quick news briefs, just talking about what we got going on currently, although I have loved hearing about everybody's reflecting on the past year. It's been so fun. So first up, I got to let everybody know we've got Trees for Troops, which is sponsored by the Christmas Spirit Foundation and FedEx.
Yes.
They are going to be here on Friday and Saturday. So E4 and below can pick up a Christmas tree for totally free. It is one tree per household. It is from 2 to 5 p.m. on Friday at the Phantom Warrior Stadium. After that, on Saturday from 9 to 2, anybody else, any other DOD ID card holders can pick up a tree. Again, first come, first serve, one tree per household. Of course, while supplies last. Then the Directorate of Family and Morale, Welfare and Recreation asked that people come prepared to load their own tree, bringing, whatever you need for that, including things to tie the tree down.
Oh, yeah.
They will have some on a very limited basis.
Right.
So highly recommend you bring your own.
Right. Makes sense.
Also on Saturday is the Williamson County Symphony Orchestra. They're going to be performing Christmas Eve, which will be at 7:30 again on Saturday at the House Theater, which is out on Fort Cavazos. Doors will open at 6:30.
And that's a free event?
It is totally free, totally
Nice.
family friendly,
Wow.
totally free. This is my first year that I'm going to be going. I'm very excited. I've heard great things, so I'm really
Nice.
looking forward to it. Speaking of course, we've got winter break is coming up so soon for people. So important to know with that is the holiday hop will be back. It will be during that 2-week half day schedule. So from December 23rd through January 7th. It is important to know there will be no service on actual Christmas Day or New Year's Day.
Okay.
We have posted an updated route. So they've changed some things a little bit because they're trying to really figure out the best route for the full Cavazos connector, which is coming in the spring to the installation.
We are looking forward.
Yes, we really are. So the updated route has been posted to our Facebook page. So make sure you follow us.
Yes,
Go
please
there,
do.
find it. It's very exciting. But attached to the spring Cavazos connector, we are actually running an artwork challenge right now on the installation. It is for any DOD ID card holders affiliated with Fort Cavazos. You can submit your artwork to be showcased on the actual bus fleet, which is very exciting.
Very.
So first place winner obviously will have their artwork showcased, and they also win a 70-inch television from AFES. Very fun.
Very nice.
It is important to note that your artwork does become Department of the Army property, and some modifications may be needed to make. So for information, we also have that posted on our Facebook page. So definitely go there and check that out. And then last but not least, when it comes to the HOP, they are still hiring part-time bus drivers.
Yes, they are.
So it is going to start. The position will be in $18 an hour, and we'll start in February of next year. And no commercial driver's license is required for the position. Very fun. To apply, you'll need to visit takethehop.com. So that's what we got going on here.
Got a lot of good stuff going on.
Yeah.
The holidays, it's the holidays.
Yes, definitely. And of course, the three of us talked about our favorite traveling soldiers this week, but the first edition of the year for the Cavazos Sentinel will talk about all this stuff as well.
Yes.
We'll also have some favorites from Eric Franklin, which is exciting. So that edition of the paper is really a year in review, kind of taking what we did over the last year and thinking about it again. It is important to note for the podcast and for the paper, the last 2 weeks of this year, we will not be producing anything. I know you guys are going to miss us.
But we will be back.
We'll be back in January. Yes. So we have one more week this week, and then, of course, next week. And then we'll be on a 2-week break. So
So in the meantime, you guys, I hope you guys took this as inspiration to get out and enjoy Texas, because there's lots to do.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
Yes, lots of fun to be had.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's all we've got for this week. Blair, thanks for stopping by.
No problem.
We will talk to you guys next week.
Bye.
This podcast is a U.S. Army Garrison Fort Cavazos and Fort Cavazos Public Affairs production. Have a question or want to share some of your wisdom with us? Drop us an email at fortcavazos@gmail.com. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Fort Cavazos Army. And as always, be sure to leave us a review and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.